Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com. The schedule has been released for the NFL, and they have made this a national holiday type event. We're going to get into that. How does a bettor really look at the schedule release? And I'm going to get into that as well. A couple of key games, good situational stuff. And I want to take a deep dive into week one here in the NFL. And is there any chance that maybe you jump on an early line? Probably not, but there'll be some interesting stuff. We'll talk about that and more. Again, I'm Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com. Go check me out at TomBartonSports.com. Check me out on YouTube, please. If you like this, make sure you hit the like button below. Make sure you go check that out. And over on X, we're not calling it Twitter anymore. It's X. It is Tom Barton Sports over there as well. So look, let's talk about it. The NFL marketing machine, they have gone out and made the NFL schedule release almost a national holiday. You see everybody getting into it. You have the teams with the funny kind of, here's our schedule releases. I know the Sims game for the Chargers, that was really pretty funny this year. That was new and innovative. I'm not sure anybody had beaten the Titans from last year, but they tried to do it again. For those that don't know, the Titans have people on the corner and they show them a symbol and they say, okay, here's our week 8 opponent, and hilarity ensues, as they would say. It does get kind of funny watching the people who don't know anything about football try to explain. Almost always the Colts are the Dallas Cowboys, and so no one knows the Jaguars, and so on. So I do like that everybody kind of gets into this thing, and the schedules are very important for people trying to make plans. I have to go there. I'm going to travel. It's also good to know the primetime games, things of, well, I want to make sure I circle that game. I want to make sure that I check that out. It is also fun for the regular everyday fan that's sitting around and saying, okay, on Thanksgiving, I'm going to be eating a big turkey leg with, and then whatever team comes up and so on. But as a sports bettor, we have to look at this in a different light. And I know that fantasy players also look at things in a different light, but as a bettor, you have to look at this and you go, okay, here's a situational spot that I'm going to take a look at. As a football fan, you have to look at certain things and go, ooh, that's going to be bad for my team and that's going to be good. So I wrote down a couple of key points that I want to make sure that we take a look at. Then I'm going to take a deep dive into week one. First, now that they have the season with extended one more game, bye weeks are very important. And where you have the bye week has always been very important. The Eagles, Chargers, Lions, and Titans all have a bye week 5. Look, I think this works against them. You don't want that early bye week in the season because it doesn't give you enough time to adjust, and then you're kind of going to be tired at the end of the year. You could say that. I also think it hurts with a new coaching staff. I have all the confidence in the world in Harbaugh, but a new coaching staff, that could kind of hinder them. Now, I will say this, the early bye week's coming for the Eagles and Titans. I will get into why that might not impact them as much because the schedule makers have done them an overall favor. But if anyone's going to get hurt here, Chargers, Titans, that could be a problem. That means that, everybody also has 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to week 14. Well, a late bye week can be beneficial. To a playoff-ready team, you take that week, you kind of do a little tinkering, and you hope you get healthy. Team like the Ravens, yeah, that absolutely helps. But the Patriots, Commanders, and Broncos all have week 14 byes, which means they're all going to get new quarterbacks. There's no reset week. There's no week to let the guy have 2 weeks to prepare and kind of reset the season. It looks like Drake May. It looks like, 3 of the top 15 picks in the draft are all going to probably be the starting quarterbacks in Washington, in New England, and in Denver. So the late bye week, I think, hurts them more than helps them, where it does help a team like the Ravens that are seemingly playoff ready. Reading more into the schedule, a couple of key things that popped out. The Atlanta Falcons, look, they have a season win total of just 9.5 total on the year. But guys, their season win total is only 9.5. They're going to be favored, preseason favorites, of course, but they're going to be favored in 13 of their 14 games, 13 of their last 14 games. So all of a sudden, you start to look at Atlanta and say, yeah, they might be better than we expect if Kirk Cousins can stay healthy. Not something I'm jumping on quite yet, but something to pay attention to. The Chicago Bears have the easiest schedule week 1 to 10. That's something you really like if you're a Caleb Williams fan. You think maybe the NFL will be a little fast for him early on. And, oh, by the way, a lot of brand new offensive weapons. Bears have the easiest schedule 1 to 10. But the Bears and the Steelers don't play any divisional games until after week 10, the Steelers in week 11. That is the latest in NFL history that team will ever play its first divisional game, which also means 6 of the final 8 games will be divisional games. That is a gauntlet, especially if you're the Steelers. playing the Bengals, playing the Browns, and then playing the Ravens. 6 times in the last 8 games. That's a rough one. Jared Goff. Oh, yeah. Remember I told you the Lions, they got a little bit of a benefit. Jared Goff won't play a game outdoors until week 9 of the season, and that's going to be at Green Bay. The Lions are going to play 3 total games during the regular season outside. So you fantasy guys out there and you guys that are prop players, maybe a Jared Goff over for props, for passing props, he's got a lot of indoor games, no weather to really worry about until week 9. And even in week 9 in Green Bay, all right, look, week 9, it could be July in Green Bay. We got weather problems. But overall, you only have to worry about it 3 times a year. The Eagles also got that benefit. They play 4 of the last 5 games in Philadelphia. That should give them a nice edge. They have that early bye week, but then they don't really have to travel for like the last month of the season. That is something that's good. Let's dig deeper into some betting quirks here. We have now become accustomed here, in the betting public, that the Jacksonville Jaguars play a game in London. Last year, they played 2. And in the preseason last year, I said this on the Fox Sports show, I said this on this show, I loved Jacksonville on the back-to-back. Look, they don't have to travel. Well, they get another back-to-back. The first time ever was last year. Here we go. Second time ever is going to be this year. They went 2-0 last year in that spot and cashed as an underdog. The familiarity has to be taken into account. Christmas Wednesday. Everybody loves Christmas Wednesday, but everyone loves Christmas games, but it's going to be Wednesday. So the internal clock is going to be off for a couple of teams. Chiefs will travel to Pittsburgh. Ravens will travel to Houston on Christmas midweek game. Betting on a team off of a bye week has always been pretty profitable, especially if it's Andy Reid and you bet on Andy Reid, but you might have to bet against the Niners. The Niners are going up against 4 teams coming off of their bye week, getting ready to prepare for them. Then you have the other side of the coin. The Bills, Browns, Bears, and Vikings will all play 3 road games. In the last 2 years, teams that played 3 road games in a row, 18-9 on their 3-game road trip. So that is a tough one also. New York Jets, they're going to be plenty in prime time. They're going to get 6 primetime games in the first 11 games. I guess they're trying to get you in there before Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Oh, I'm sorry, but it's true. And the Cowboys and Giants, which we've kind of become accustomed to them, being opening day. Well, they're going to play 2 Thursday night games. That could be interesting as well. So we have the expanded schedule. We have the schedule that is coming out there. And there are some quirks that you should pay attention to. Now let's get into week 1, a couple of the lines. I'll read the lines to you, and then I'll kind of give you my thoughts. Let me put the phone up here so I can do this. Baltimore, Kansas City, 3-point favorite. Green Bay at Philly, Philly's -1.5. Buffalo is a 7-point favorite against Arizona. Atlanta, 2.5-point favorite against Pittsburgh. Cincinnati, 8-point favorite against New England. Houston's 1.5-point favorite on the road against Indy. Chicago, 4.5-point favorite at home against Tennessee. Miami at home -4 against Jacksonville. 4.5-point favorite for New Orleans over Carolina. Giants are a 1-point favorite over Minnesota in New York or New Jersey. The Chargers, 3-point favorite over Vegas at home. Seattle -4.5 over Denver at home. Cleveland -1 over Dallas at home. Tampa Bay -3.5 over Washington at home. Detroit will be at home over the Rams -3. And then the last game, San Francisco 5.5-point favorites against the Jets. There's the primetime game. Look, when you look at this right away, you can point out the good games. Baltimore, Kansas City, great opening game. Absolutely fantastic opening game. I love it. Derrick Henry's going to be there, and everybody is just all into Kansas City right now. I get it. You got to love that game. As a betting perspective, I don't love it. Green Bay, Philly, same kind of thing. I mean, people are very high on Green Bay, but there's some turnover there. Philly, I think people are down on them probably more than they should be this year, and that is another intriguing game from a betting standpoint. No. I like to see Buffalo at home, but look, the weather won't be in their advantage. Everyone's down on Arizona. That is probably one of those spots where if you like Buffalo, you take it now, +7. I bet you that goes up to 8, 8.5, and I think that might be a play where you could grab Arizona in a spot with a new Buffalo team. Atlanta, Pittsburgh doesn't entice me. I got to see how Kirk Cousins looks and you got to see how Russell Wilson looks over the course of the summer. Cincinnati, New England, I got to see Joe Burrow. I think everyone's going to jump on Cincinnati, New England, first-time coaching, maybe first-time quarterback. There's a lot to unravel there. Cincinnati is going to be a very popular teaser pick, we'll say that. Indy, Houston, coin flip. Not touching it. Although I think everyone's going to love Houston. Getting points, game 1, divisional game. Tempting for Indy backers. Chicago, Tennessee. I kind of like Chicago, but again, you're betting on a rookie. Remember, by the way, Tennessee is going to the air early and often this year. They have a new offensive coordinator. They believe in Will Levis. They don't have Derrick Henry anymore. Maybe the over. I know the Bears defense was good. Maybe the over there. Miami, Jacksonville, Miami -4. Not touching that one, although I think it'll be a good game. New Orleans, Carolina. Carolina looks like a mess. Bryce Young looks just like a bust upon bust, but it's early. Follow that throughout camp, but New Orleans might be a play. Giants, Minnesota, too much turmoil. I kind of like the Giants, but too much. Chargers, Vegas. Here we go, divisional game. You could get 3 points with Vegas. New head coach in the Chargers. I know he's horrible, but still a new head coach. Seattle, Denver. Again, get Denver +4.5. Seattle, new coaching staff. Kind of like that too. Divisional, early season, divisional foes getting points is intriguing. Cleveland, Dallas. Don't love it either way. Tampa Bay, Washington. Kind of like Tampa Bay there. I think Tampa Bay is just one of the most slept on teams for the last 2 years. I made a ton of money on them last year. I'm hoping to make a lot of money on them again this year. Detroit, Rams. Rams have a healthy Stafford right now. Puka, Cooper. Interesting stuff, but their defense certainly suffered, and they'll be young. They're going to put in Fisk, they're going to put in Verse, but they are going to be young. Detroit makes a lot of sense there. And then San Francisco against the Jets. I mean, what do you believe in the Jets? That's really what we're looking at. So there's a couple of leans right now, but more so than not, I think there's no real line other than that Buffalo line, which I think certainly will skyrocket if all of a sudden Buffalo looks great and Arizona's a mess. The Buffalo line I can see jumping on now, but I don't normally jump on week 1 lines. I can see it, though. I could understand if that's what you wanted to do. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Please like my YouTube channel if you like this, and please go check me out at TomBartonSports.com. The NFL is coming, and it's coming up fast, guys. Should be a great year. I love some of the schedule quirks, and I plan to take full advantage this year. I'll be back, and you can bet on that.